So for my terrarium, I have some rocks. These are my plants. They're little succulents. So I have one that's grown pretty tall already, and then this one here. I have some soil, and then a 2-liter bottle that I have already cut so that this part will go on top. First thing I'm going to do is put rocks or small pebbles in the bottom section of my 2-liter bottle. So now I have about 1 to 2 inches deep of rock here. I'm going to put the soil in. I decided just to go with this tall succulent instead of both of them, since it just seems like one will fit. And I'm going to depot this and put it into this mixture here, and I'll add some more soil. But this also has some moss in it, so I think that will add nicely to my terrarium. So here's what it looks like right now with the plant in it. Now I'm going to add some water. Now that it has some water in it, we're going to put the top of the bottle onto it. And here is what my finished terrarium looks like. So here is my finished terrarium. We went over the steps a little bit ago, but just a refresher. I cut the bottle to make 2 pieces. Then I put some pebbles on the bottom. I then put some soil. I then depotted my succulent and I planted that in there. I then put some water and made it so it was moist but not soaking wet. And then I put the top section of the bottle on tight, and I made sure the lid was on tight as well. So in terms of a 5E lesson plan, I would probably put making a terrarium in the explore section, because that is where students are doing hands-on activities. So maybe you introduce them to the concept of terrariums, kind of what they do, how they work, and then in that explore section you have them do it for themselves. So they're creating their own terrarium. I would probably maybe lay out a bunch of different supplies and have them choose which supplies they want to use, maybe have different types of plants, and then they can make their own, kind of decide how they want to do it, because there's, I'm sure, a bunch of different ways you could have it be done. So that is the 5E lesson plan that I would do with a terrarium. And then when we move on to the other parts, I would have them explain their process and talk about why they made the decisions that they did, or why did they choose a certain plant or a size rock or things like that. And then students can compare each other's and kind of look. I think it would be a fun activity to have students get involved in. In terms of challenges, I would say the hardest part was kind of deciding how much water was enough water. I didn't want to make the soil soaking wet, but I also wanted to put enough water into it that it still worked the way it was supposed to. So I would say adding the correct amount of water would be the most challenging part of the overall process. Other than that, I thought it was pretty straightforward and easy, and I'm happy with how it came out. So in terms of adding more water to it, we shouldn't have to, because terrariums are self-sustaining ecosystems, meaning that the soil and the plant release water vapor, which then collects on the side of the bottle inside and then would trickle down and go back into the soil. So it's basically like recycling water all over again. So it just completely waters itself, so to say, so we shouldn't have to add any more water.